Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill. I yield the floor, Mr. President.
You're tuned in to Talking GOP, the one place where Washington's spin gets burned off by straight talk and steel truth. Senator John Kennedy just walked into the chamber and called out the circus of waste that's been burning through your tax dollars. He didn't whisper it, he named it. $3 million for Sesame Street in Iraq, $500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda, pastry classes in Haiti, and even taxpayer-funded grants for sex workers in Nepal. Kennedy looked around that chamber and said, enough. It's gut check time. That's what leadership sounds like. No filters, no rehearsed talking points, just raw Louisiana backbone. If you're tired of DC bureaucrats playing sugar daddy with your paycheck, hit that like button, subscribe to Talking GOP, and let's tear into this madness together.
What does that mean? Well, we've got a $7 trillion budget, okay? I don't know how much of that $7 trillion is waste, but every fair-minded person would have to agree that there's some money being spent in that $7 trillion that shouldn't be spent. It just shouldn't. It's wasted money. And so President Trump and this Congress made one of its objectives trying to reduce spending. Not spending that we need to reduce, but spending that needs to be reduced. I call it spending porn. And the president has sent us a bill. He's saying to Congress, I want you to reduce spending in the current budget by $9.1 billion. And let me tell you what the spending, what constitutes the spending I want to reduce. Well, first, $9.1 billion out of a $7 trillion budget, we're not talking about a lot of money here. We're talking about 0.1%. That's all. That's point one. Point two, you need to look at what the president's asking us to cut out. I'll just give you a couple of examples. I didn't make this up. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Iraq to produce Sesame Street. Maybe we could use that money for something else. The president is saying we're giving $3 million to Zambia for circumcisions and vasectomies. The president's saying we don't need to do that. We've got other priorities. We're giving $500,000 to Rwanda to buy electric buses. The president is saying to us, Congress, we don't need to be spending the money on that. There are more important things. We're spending $67,000 to give insect powder to kids in Madagascar. I don't even know what insect powder is, but the president's asking us to cut it out. We're giving $3,600,000 to Haiti for pastry cooking classes, for cyber cafes, for dance focus groups, for male prostitutes. The president's saying, I don't think so. I don't think that the American people support giving their hard-earned money to male prostitutes in Haiti. So he's asking us to cut it out. He's asking us to reduce the budget by $833,000 because some of President Biden's bureaucrats gave a contract to transgender people, sex workers, and their clients in Nepal. The president's saying, I don't want to do that. And he's right. That's enough. You get the idea. That's why I call it spending porn. triggers your gag reflex. You look at this stuff and you go, what in God's name? Who decided to do this? Well, Congress didn't. The bureaucrats did. It's money we appropriated, but we didn't tell them to go spend money, $833,000, and give to sex workers in Nepal. They just took the money we appropriated and used it for that. And so the president is asking us to do what's called a rescission, to cancel the spending. Now, I have listened, I've been here 8 years, Mr. President, and I've listened to a whole bunch of people talk about the need to reduce spending. But you got to watch what people do, not what they say. Because talk is cheap. And around here, I've learned pretty quickly that reducing spending, it's like going to heaven. I want to go to heaven. I bet you want to go to heaven, Mr. President. I bet our guests in the gallery want to go to heaven. But everybody wants to go to heaven. Raise your hand if you're ready to take the trip today. Most people, you are, sir, and I admire that, but most people want to live a little longer. And that's the way it is with reducing spending around here. I want to reduce spending. I support it, but not just yet, because I've got this project. Well, and I've listened to that. And I've especially listened to it for the past 100 days. Go get them, President Trump. Reduce that spending. We're behind you 1,000%. Well, he has. He has. 0.1% he's asking us to reduce. And I'm not saying senators shouldn't ask questions and make some changes if they need to be made, but here's the bottom line. It is gut check time. It is gut check time. You either believe in reducing spending or you don't. And if you talk the game and say, let's reduce spending, and you vote against this bill, in my opinion, you ought to hide your head in a bag. Because you will be able to cut the hypocrisy with a knife. It's real, real hard, Mr. President, to preach temperance from a bar stool. It's gut check time. We need to pass this bill. I yield the floor, Mr. President.
Now that right there, folks, is what I call a breath of fresh air in a swamp full of hot air. Kennedy didn't deliver a speech. He dropped a truth grenade. Let's be real. This wasn't just about $9.1 billion. It's about principle. It's about a government that treats taxpayer money like confetti at a political parade. The man said it himself. Out of $7 trillion, we're cutting just 0.1%. That's nothing. But it's a start. And it's the kind of start Washington hates because it means accountability. You know what hit me hardest? When Kennedy called it spending porn, that's exactly what it is, government addiction. Bureaucrats get their kicks funding ridiculous projects overseas while our veterans wait in line for healthcare and our border bleeds. Let that sink in Sesame Street in Iraq. Insect powder for kids in Madagascar. Male prostitutes in Haiti. And somebody in a DC office thought that made sense? Kennedy's right. You look at this list and your gag reflex kicks in. What Kennedy did here wasn't just a policy statement. It was a moral statement. He drew a line in the sand. Either you stand for responsible spending or you stand for hypocrisy. And as he said, it's hard to preach temperance from a barstool. That line should be carved in stone on the Capitol steps. This is why people respect John Kennedy. He doesn't need to shout to be powerful. He just tells the truth, with humor, humility, and that razor-sharp wit that slices through DC nonsense like a hot knife through butter. I'll tell you something, if more senators had the backbone Kennedy showed in this speech, maybe the American people wouldn't feel like their taxes are being set on fire every year. So yeah, Kennedy's right, it's gut check time. For Congress, for the bureaucracy, and for every so-called fiscal conservative who suddenly forgets the word cut when the lobbyists start calling. If you're standing with Kennedy on this one, comment #GutCheckTime below, hit that like, and make sure you're subscribed, because Talking GOP isn't just commentary, it's a movement to bring common sense back to the Capitol. Because at the end of the day, my friends, truth isn't partisan. It's patriotic. United States.